Hello everyone. I'm here with a scary story. This happened when I was about 12 years old. I lived in a town that had an abandoned railway line that ran through it. It hadn't been used for passenger traffic for years, but we knew that occasionally freight trains would rattle through in the dead of night. One such night, I was awoken in my house that was close to the railway line to the sound of what I can only describe as the most terrifying steam engine you could ever imagine. My bedroom window was open, and I could hear the whistle of the train as it approached my house. I remember leaning out of the window and listening intently. The sound of the train seemed to be getting louder, so I got out of bed and went to investigate. As I stood by the window, the sound of the approaching train suddenly stopped. I remember thinking, how can a train just stop in the middle of the tracks? I looked out into the darkness beyond my garden, which backed onto the railway line, and I could see nothing. The sound of the train had been so loud, and yet there was no sign of any engine or carriages. Moments later, as I continued to peer into the darkness, I saw a faint glow in the distance. At first it was just a small light, but as it approached, I realized that it was the front of an engine. I watched in amazement as it got closer and closer, growing brighter and brighter until it was right outside my bedroom window. I remember thinking, how is this possible? Surely if a train had been traveling along the tracks, I would have heard it, but there was no sound at all from the engine. It was as though it had somehow become detached from the carriages and was now rolling towards me on its own. The engine came to a stop outside my window, and I watched as the light flickered and danced on the walls of my bedroom. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the glow vanished, and I heard the sound of the train starting up again. I raced to the window and looked out to see the engine moving away from my house, disappearing into the mist that clung to the railway line. I remember standing there watching it go and thinking, what the hell was that? I don't know how long I stood there for, but eventually I went back to bed, my mind racing with questions. Was it some kind of ghost train? Was it the engine of some long-lost railway company that used to run through our town before it closed down? What about the ghostly passengers that I could have sworn I saw inside the carriages? Over the years, I've tried to put the memory of that night behind me, but it is something that has continued to haunt me, and it is something that I can't quite explain away. If you have any ideas as to what it could have been, I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm sorry for the short story. I wanted to keep it short and sweet and get straight to the point. I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Thank you for listening and have a great day.